Hello everyone, my name is Ethan McDermott, and this is my presentation for Keigo Dojo, a Japanese language learning app. Japanese is undeniably a popular language to learn. However, the difficulty of Japanese can be a major hurdle for many people that choose to tackle this language. According to the Foreign Service Institute, the government organization that teaches foreign service workers languages, Japanese is categorized as a Category 4 super hard language to learn. These languages are exceptionally difficult for native English speakers to learn and require a considerable amount of time to gain proficiency in. I've even seen versions of this chart where Japanese is given a little asterisk to denote that even within the super hard languages, it's considered especially hard. But why? Why is Japanese so hard for native English speakers? There are a variety of reasons, but some of the most common ones are here. Kanji, the Japanese writing system, is difficult since it consists of thousands of characters that contain multiple meanings and multiple readings. And then you also have the linguistic distance between English and Japanese. And then here I put kyori because it's the Japanese word for distance and makes a nice little symmetry. But English and Japanese words are not in the same language family at all. And because of this, they don't have nearly as many cognates as something like English and Spanish do. Then there's Keigo, the Japanese system of showing respect to others. While many languages show respect in some form, Japanese goes an extra step further and embeds it deeply into the language itself. There are plenty of apps that target learning kanji. There's also many flashcard apps that should help the difficulty of memorizing vocabulary in a language that you don't have much reference for. But for Keigo, there's not that many resources for non-native speakers learning Keigo. There are some like general language learning apps such as Duolingo that might touch on the subject, but they don't go into nearly enough depth to gain sufficient understanding. Then there's some YouTube videos that explain the concepts pretty well, but they lack the exercises that reinforce the learning. And then there's some books that explain the subject well, but they don't really take advantage of technology like smartphones that could be used to help with long-term retention of the grammar and vocabulary. But for a little more detail, what even is Keigo? So for the most briefest example, we can look at the verbs. So for example, in an Indo-European language like English or Spanish, you might change the verb based on the subject, who is doing the action. So for example, in English, I eat, but if you're talking about someone else, you would say he eats with an S at the end. In Spanish, you'll also do something similar, where yo como, I eat, with an O, he eats, él come, with an E, ellos comen, with en, and nosotros comemos, we eat, with the hemos. However, unlike these examples, Japanese doesn't change verbs based on how many people are doing the action, but rather on the level of respect you need to show to who you're addressing. So for example, if I'm talking to one of my friends, I might use the casual form like taberu. If I'm talking with a stranger that I don't know that well, I might use tabemasu. If I'm talking to my boss who I need to show respect to, I'll use meshiagaru. And if I'm talking about something I'm doing and I'm talking to my boss, I'll use itadaku because then shows me being more modest. Due to its difficulty, many Japanese learners don't even bother trying to learn Keigo. However, there are very strong reasons for learning it. First, it'll give you a better understanding of Japanese culture. Japan is culturally a very hierarchical society. Once you begin to learn Keigo, you'll start to pick up on those nuances more. Second, learning Keigo will help improve your listening comprehension. By learning Keigo, you will better you'll be better equipped to understand sentences that utilize it. Third, learning Keigo will give you greater confidence in your speaking abilities, since you'll have to guess less about whether what you're saying is correct. But if Keigo is so helpful to learn, why aren't people learning it? I hypothesize that the problem lies in how Keigo is typically taught in classes. Oftentimes, Keigo is presented in a table similar to this one, and Japanese learners are expected to memorize this in classes. This is a very tedious and boring way to learn a language, especially a tricky grammar concept that requires social context to even make sense. The solution to this is the subject of this project, Keigo Dojo. This app is designed to help Japanese language learners improve their Keigo skills in a way that is more enjoyable and effective. The app will feature bite-sized lessons that gradually introduce Keigo concepts and vocabulary, which is a much better way than just trying to memorize a table. It will also include exercises that will vary based on your social context that you're using the sentence in. This way, your brain is forced to pay attention to who you are talking to and not just memorize the sentence. It also features a spaced repetition system to help put these concepts into long-term memory, and chat-based exercises which use simulated learning to emulate how Keigo would be used in real conversations. And now for a demonstration of the work completed thus far.
The feedback from last time was very helpful for this version's design. The app currently has 10 lessons working, and each lesson covers a different verb or Keigo concept. Since last time, I've developed a spaced repetition system, added better pictures to lessons, implemented some of the suggestions from peer feedback, and added notifications. I also created chat exercises, integrated some YouTube videos, and had the app evaluated by my Japanese friend who has a graduate degree in linguistics. So if we take a look at some of these lessons, if you go into one of these, and it shows some of those new pictures, and then each one of these kind of gives you more detail. And right here is one of the chat-based exercises. So each bubble is kind of one of these people in the picture. So first one's saying, "Thanks for inviting me today." And then the next person on the left is saying, "Oh yeah, don't worry about it. Since it's your birthday, I'll pay for you." And then person on the right says, "Oh, thanks. Well, in that case," then when you click on the text field to give your answer, it kind of pops up with some pre-filled text. Right here it's saying, "Can I blank this steak then?" So, can I eat this steak then? And since based on the picture, it's presumably friends or a couple, you'd use casual form. So you'd say, "Kono steiki o tabete mo ii." You click that, and it sends your message, and if it's correct, it'll send the other person's message back. So that's that simulation-based learning that's really helpful for learning that context. Then, oh, and I also added some tool tips to helps declutter, and it kind of helps if you have more advanced learners that want that extra information. Another thing that I added was some YouTube videos for whenever there were good examples that could easily be explained or demonstrated by a video. Those are helpful. Then on the practice, I have this badge to say how many lessons you have due. And so right now you have 3 reviews due. When you click Start Practice, it will generate random set based on the lessons that you need to review. And yeah, so this has 3 different types of lessons.
Thank you for listening to the presentation.